Hello everyone. We have some tasty content. Well, tasty, but very sad, because I have a girl as a guest who came in such a fluffy, warm scarf. And when I took off this scarf from her, I was, of course, a little surprised. What's the actual situation? The girl was scheduled to come to me for a content shoot specifically for you, but she had to share a little for our podology course because a model cancelled, and the course was specifically about ingrown toenails. These noses are so fluffy. Her toes were freezing, it was a cold time of the year, and she was apparently trying to create some sort of cushion for herself so it wouldn't hurt so much. She hid all this from Mom. As soon as Mom found out, she wrote to us immediately. Plus, when she took off her nose ring, she discovered that she has some sort of allergy, which according to her just appeared recently. But here our story falls silent. And the first thing I did, of course, was to apply antiseptic to try to remove as much as possible all these little pimples from the nose ring, because this, of course, is nothing good. Here is the story. Well, so here are such lies. With the spray that should give an anesthetic effect because the child is 12 years old, she of course asks for some pain relief. I reassure her everything will be okay, but she's trembling with fear. It's a typical situation. I understand. The child is really scared, so for such cases there is a special spray. But of course she will absolutely not be hurt. By the way, how to understand this? It's very easy to understand. If she was in pain, she would be holding her leg. Therefore, the procedure is very gentle, slow, comfortable, painless. What am I going to do? I'm going to do a lot of tamponade. I want to mention that a surprise awaits us inside. Well, right now he's looking through the edge of the nail plate, but when I cut the first piece, everything will become very clear what I'm doing. I'm doing a tamponade there to slightly separate the roller and the nail plate and to slightly dry everything here, because all this has soaked into closed shoes, it has soaked into socks, it has soaked heavily, not one day, and of course you don't need to do this. So the first thing you need is breathable socks. Yes, there must be air access there, and nothing should be tight and nothing should squeeze. And since the toe is swollen, of course, regular shoes, they also caused her discomfort. I'm trying to do a little taping here to push the bunion away, but I also understand that I don't have the ability to press or pull too hard. That's why I'm barely touching it, just to avoid causing the child discomfort and not to discourage her from seeing podiatrists for the rest of her life. Because if you make one wrong move, the child has to live with it somehow. For everyone who was taken aback by my long nail, I apologize, but it just so happened that I was pulled out of another shooting process. That's why actually the nail here is so terrible. Well, it was in an extreme order, so that's how it happened. In general, we removed the first piece, that is, in essence, we just trimmed the nail. Also, for all the malicious ones who say that podiatrists don't do anything, they just trim nails. That's all there is, we just trim nails. But the trick is that we know how to trim these nails correctly. And here, when I've already cut the corner, I see that I need to cut a little more because there is no such strong growth in her. The problem here is that the wall of the nail itself is very sharp and it has cut and rubbed her skin. As a result, this misfortune occurred. The finger is visibly swollen and very red. But it becomes clear from these frames that something foreign has crawled out from under the nail plate. That is, such a piece that has formed there. Such things can happen. They are very common when nails start to grow. That is, the wound can, so to speak, transform in this way. This is soft tissue. It will calm down and definitely pass. But it is absolutely impossible to traumatize it now. And no matter how much I clung to the pieces and didn't think that now I would somehow crawl there and everything would be fine, I understood that I couldn't cope here alone. But since this was ultimately a course model that was handed over, I decided to shoot content on it and show it to the girls. There were many behind-the-scenes explanations, and the video was lengthy as I talked about something for an extended period. But since Lena was standing next to me to my left, we decided to act in three hands. In general, now I'm stretching out my third hand and asking Lena to hold my skin a little like this, because I realized that I just couldn't handle it here with my two hands. An assistant was really needed here. I needed help. And while Lena was holding everything for me, I got access and was able to cut the wall so accurately that it wouldn't get stuck there anymore. Of course, the biggest part of the job is not about trimming her nails correctly, but it will end up being about having to definitely talk to her mom. See, our foreigner has really come out there. In the end, I will still process all of this. And while we move to the other half of our nail plate, here the wall is very tightly twisted. We see such a hanging approaching roller, which after all gave us this nail plate. But he pressed, understandably, not just because, but because she had tight shoes, heels, which all this gave away. And so in complex, all this gave such adventures. The girl confessed to attempting to trim something down there on her own. Well, no one even doubted that. In these frames, you can clearly see the burr that remained from the edge of the nail plate. That is such an initial stage of what, on the other hand, that is the edge of the nail was rubbed and cut. That is, some slight inflammation has already gone. You can clearly see this hole. Had she not come now, she would have heard quite a story from both sides later, but only a surgeon could tell more. Yes, here I am showing her directly. I also show the girls how this happens. Of course, it needs to be done so that now there is no pressure on this roller from either side. After a few days, her inflammation subsided and everything was already good with these nails. But of course, I definitely want to tell all moms to please check your children's feet, even if they seem very big to you. Well, I mean children, yes, that is, I understand that at the age of 11, this is already such a mature person, already conscious, independent. But they can hide something, they can conceal something. Here I am already setting up the tamponade, accurately starting it with a cigarette. It is necessary to put it under the nail because the main task of the tamponade is to separate the nail plate and the skin. It also pushes the roller away. I always use a Curette for this, Japanese Curette P20. I think it's a must-have for any podiatrist because it's made in a certain way, it's very smooth and never hurts the clients. From one side, it's very convenient, especially when you're dealing with such cases. It's even better not to breathe on them unnecessarily. So I'm giving this little curette a like. And to be honest, even our clients buy these curettes for home care. Those who can't come to the bandage change every day, they buy it every day and use it at home themselves. We show how to do this. Therefore, of course, there is no big science. The main thing is to understand the principle of action. Next, we apply the ointment. And I say right away, as always, that only this ointment, if you will use it, will not have an effect on you. It is only needed to relieve inflammation, to make everything heal. It will not work. If you have a splinter there, it does not dissolve nails. This is a very important point, so I will not call it an ointment. It's best to stay silent and not say anything. Because I know there will be people who will listen to everything I said before this, will buy the ointment and then say it doesn't work. And I'm a mess too. Of course, because no ointment has ever dissolved a piece of nail polish, it needs to be cut off anyway. Traditionally, we make the finger happy. And after that, I went to talk to my mom, explained to her that she must follow hygiene, told her about the bandages, told her everything. The girls then consulted with her, emphasizing the importance of clean handkerchiefs.